It didn't even start yet.
That's all right. We're recording now.
That's all right. Oh, I put it 10 o'clock. Shit.
We are live.
I don't care.
Should we say
Just
something?
hit stop.
You don't hit
No,
stop.
just keep going.
Just hit stop. This isn't
Well, no, this is why it'll turn out crappy because of what's happening now.
You don't yell at me,
Just hit stop.
sucker.
Just
This
hit stop.
messes up last time.
I don't give a shit. Just hit stop.
No, we're gonna have to
Don't
do
hit
B
stop.
again.
You're not
We're gonna
the
have to do
boss.
B.
You don't tell shit.
Well, you're fucking just dicking around, and it's gonna fucking turn out shitty like you expect because you're dicking around.
You know,
All right.
it's that kind of attitude that gets your laundry washed when you don't want it washed.
All right, I'm bringing the picture up. All right, you guys are now on camera. You guys can hash this
I'm
out.
going to play the music right now.
Do it, bro.
Talk me into this bullshit.
Here's the bullet.
And we're back.
I'll listen to that
Pretty good
fade.
timing.
Episodes. I have it mentally timed in my head. Episode 211, coming at you podcast, brought to us by actually with my good buddy Kevin Honeycutt and Tata Toddy.
Hello, hello.
We are doing this remotely because there's a snowstorm, so you're going to get some of the music from Bullet's side on the audio, which will be on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and am I missing one?
No, I think that's all of them.
All right.
pretty much.
So the show is brought to us by Stitcher.
Smartest way to listen to radio on or off the radio.
Netflix.
Did you see Bright yet?
You know what I started watching? I don't know why I didn't start watching it before. Was Black Mirror.
I just watched episode 1
last
night.
I started out with the Star Trek one that Joe Rogan posted the other day. It's fucking phenomenal. I'm a couple episodes in. Fantastic.
Did
Probably
you see the one where the prime minister has to fuck a pig?
That's number 1. Yeah.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to
Yeah,
finish
okay.
that one because the kids were in the room. Also brought to us by Jack Daniels. Band-Aid for your soul.
I'm gonna need a lot of it for this shit.
Also brought to us by Extreme Cage Combat, February 3rd. We're going to be at the Philadelphia Armory. A couple of our fighters are going to be in next week. We're going to have Lex Ludlow. And he's going to be bringing with him Pat Sabatini. Also, Philly Comedy.
Big fucker?
Huh?
Is that big motherfucker?
I don't know. I know the name, but I can't picture him in my head.
I think it's that real big kid that he fought with the last time.
Yeah, it might be.
Remember when Brianna was drunk?
Yeah, I don't know if that's him or not, but either way, it should be fun. Also brought to us by Philly Comedy Club. This Friday they have Ricky Velez. He's
Okay.
on Master of None, featuring Julio Galorati. Their shows at 7 and 9 p.m. And next Friday they have Bonnie McFarlane from Last
Bonnie McFarlane. That's what's she's married to, who's that comedian that used to be on all the time with
I don't know.
Opie and Anthony.
Yeah, okay. But Beth McFarlane
She's married to a comedian that goes on that show.
from Last Comic Standing is going to be there next Friday, 7 and 9 p.m. on January 12th. The following week after that, they have Nico White from Sway, he's actually Sway on the morning show. I guess that's one of the serious shows.
He's a comedy guy now?
I guess that's not Sway. That's one of the guys from the show.
I was about to say, because I know Sway's not like a comedian.
Yeah, so use the Coming At You podcast code CAYPOD for discount tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're down there, make sure you say hi to Russ. And also, a couple messages already. Holly Stewart said, don't stop, you whiny bitches. When we were fighting at the beginning of the show.
Well, you're the one who was whining.
So, did you do anything special for New Year's?
We're done with the resp.
Yeah. Oh, Rest Tattoo, also brought to us by Dads and Cargo Shits. We're a little off kilter tonight because we're working from 2 different locations. Did you do anything for New Year's Eve, Bullet?
No.
No?
Not a thing.
Nothing.
No, not really.
Did you watch?
Did you stay up till midnight?
No.
Did you have to work the next day?
No, I just don't care.
Just don't have it in you, huh?
Don't have it in me.
Jeff Cinnamon Jr.?
Was Cinnamon Jr. over the house?
No, but I did get to see him the next day.
Okay, so that was
kinda cool.
pretty exciting. We actually had some drinking games at Todd's house. Played a game called Exploding Kittens, which is actually a pretty fun game. And
I played the video game version of that.
I think
there is a phone version of it.
there is a phone app of it. But speaking
That's what I
of
have.
phone apps, Bullet and I were kind of going back and forth earlier today. What was the name of that one I sent to you?
Motivator.
It's called Motivator. And the whole point to the app is, like people make resolutions and stuff like that, or they decide they're going to lose weight. They're going to decide they're going to run a fucking marathon. They're going to do all kinds of shit. And the thing with Motivator is you download the app, you put your credit card in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you authorize $250 or more, and you set a goal.
Of your own money.
Of your own money. And if you don't hit the goal, it charges you the $250 or whatever you bid. And there's different things. The way you have to do it is, if I remember correctly, at the beginning, let's say it's a weight loss challenge. You have to take a picture of yourself on a scale, one hand in the picture, one hand on the camera, with a date, right? So if your goal was to lose 20 pounds, and they have healthy goals on there, they're not going to say, okay, you have to lose 50 pounds in a month. They're not going to let you bet on that. But what they will do is they will let you place a bet that you're going to lose 10 pounds in, let's say, 30 days. And in 30 days, you get on the scale. You have your one hand so they can see it, so you're not touching something to make sure you're lighter or whatever. And both feet are on the scale, so everything's in the picture. And you have the date, and somebody, I guess, clearly judges it on the other end. And if you didn't meet your goal, you get charged the money.
And what do they do with that money?
They keep it. It's fucking fantastic. It's genius.
It's not. If they told me I was donating it to something and maybe they were going to
may
take
do something with it.
10% of
I
it
don't
or
know.
something, that would be pretty cool.
But the goal is to motivate you to not lose something that you already own. And Bull and I started chatting about it earlier, and we just said, hey, we're going to wait for the show. The thing with it is the Honey Winery, your brother's thrown in there. I don't know what that is. But the goal of the app is that you're going to stick to your goal, and I guess the end result is you're going to lose something that you already own versus winning something. And I think Bullet was talking earlier. He said he's more motivated by not losing something that he already owns.
Yeah, that's the science behind it. The science behind it is that you don't want to lose something that you already own. So that's much more of a powerful motivator than losing something that you already don't have.
How much would you bet if let's say you were going to lose 10 pounds? Are you looking at the app right now? Did you download it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. You got to sign up and do everything. I am not giving these assholes $250 of my own money.
No.
I think ridicule is another powerful motivator.
Yeah, but I think you can get out of ridicule. Like, you could put something on your credit card and authorize it.
I do that quite a bit.
No, but what I'm saying is if you lose a bet and you say, okay, I don't want to do the ridicule part, you don't have to. Nobody's going to force you. This you already authorized, and they're just going to take your money from you.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true, yeah.
But the minimum's $250?
Well, they determined that through testing that people $100, $150 are willing to lose that and not care about it. But $250 was the breaking point where anybody who bet $250 or more had a higher likelihood of sticking to the goal. Right?
Yeah, they said it was 100% completion.
100% completion.
Yeah.
So if you have, I think it's a good one too. Is I don't know if you can go on it and bet and say, okay, if I if Todd and I are going to lose weight, like you and Martin had a weight competition last year.
Yeah.
If you were going to lose, what are you doing on your phone?
I'm typing.
To who?
Don't worry about
the
it.
world.
Where? Yeah, the
Just
world.
stay in the
Dad.
conversation with
Yeah,
us.
He is. He's there.
Be with us, guy.
Yeah, calm it down, Dad.
Stop texting. So
if you'd be more attentive to your laundry.
if you and Martin, don't get me started on that. If you and Martin had that bet earlier in the year last year, it would have been a lot easier for you guys to set a goal and both stick to it and decide who was the winner. So I don't know if you can.
What other goals do they have?
You could run 100 meters under 10 seconds. Like you can bet whatever you want.
How about like reading a book?
There's no way to prove that you read the book unless they're going to test you on
Maybe
it.
you have to write a book report.
Like if you're going to run 100 meters and you got to be under 10 seconds, the only way to do it is show a video of you running 100 meters.
I'm trying to do the 52-week challenge, which is read 52 books a year. So it's a book a week.
So a book a week. How many are you up to so far?
Well, asshole face, it's January 4th. So how many books you think I'm up to?
You should be
You
almost
should
done
be
one.
halfway through a book. And how far along are you?
How many books have you completed?
How far along are you in your first
I'm
book?
about halfway through this book.
What's the name of the book?
Artemis.
Did you download it? Is it an Audible book?
It's a Kindle book.
Okay? So
From the author of The Martian.
how far into it are
An
you?
award-winning movie starring Matt Damon.
You don't like Matt Damon?
I do, but that's how I got to say his name.
I actually, the guy that was on. Did you see the episode of Black Mirror with the Star Trek one?
No.
It's
At least all the one where
season 4, episode 1. Watch that one. And I don't know the guy's name. He was on Breaking Bad. He was the blonde-haired kid that was helping out Frank every now and then.
Okay.
Like there's a scene where they rob they stop a train and they steal all the chemicals out. Do you remember that scene?
Oh yeah.
The blonde-haired guy looks kind of dopey.
Yeah.
He's in that, but he's the main character on this, and he actually is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check it out. I know that's a British show.
Well, no, it started off British. Netflix took it after 2 years, and I believe from that point on, it's whatever Netflix did with it. I don't think it's all British now.
It's definitely worth watching, though.
That first episode was creepy as.
Did you watch the second one?
No.
It's kind of like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
Every
it's like
episode is
Twilight
different.
Zone, creep showish. Second one I watched today, and it was a people have implants where they can remember they have all their memories stored, and they can rewind and fast forward it. They can also project it on the TV.
Everybody's like a woman, you mean?
Yeah, I guess, but they can project.
7 years ago, you gave me a look.
But they can, and that's exactly what happens in this. Like this dude walks into a party, and everything's recording out of his eyes, and he's showing up late to a party. First, he's at an interview, and they say, "Well, hopefully, we'll maybe see you later." At the end of it, and he's like, "What the fuck did they say?" And he rewinds it in his head, and he's playing it over and over again. He's like, "These guys don't want me." So then he shows up to a party, and he sees his wife across the room, right? And she's talking to some dude, and he zooms all the way in, right? And he sees how happy she is, and she's giggling. And then as soon as she sees him, her face changes, right? And she's like, "Oh," so the attitude changes a little bit different. And it turns out that he told her, or she told him, that they dated for like a week. And then he calls her out on it, and it turns out he dated her for a month. And then he finds out she's lying again. And then it turns out before the end of the story, like the dude's fast forwarding and rewinding her thoughts.
Any spoilers here?
No. There's no spoilers, but it's all in the first minute or two.
Oh, okay.
But they can rewind and see the thoughts, and the guy's just making himself crazy because he's overanalyzing like every scene of what just happened.
So basically, you have memory like a woman, and you have anxiety like me.
Yes, and do you have memory like a woman? I feel like you probably do.
Very similar.
I feel like a natural woman.
A natural woman.
What is that from?
Oh, guys, the legs.
Evelyn-
Legs or
Okay, she's got no. I don't remember. What are you doing?
I'm talking to some of our fans. I'm engaging with them.
did
Are you logged in onto the Facebook chat or the iTunes chat? So let's keep having a conversation here. So the app that you can get is one for motivating, and they had a 2-for-1 on Audible the other day, so I downloaded 2 Audible books.
Both Star Wars?
No, they were both in the self-motivation category.
Oh, I hate those fucking books.
and I didn't realize that
It's called self-motivation. Let me help someone. Let me read a book so someone can motivate me. But it's not self-motivation.
I downloaded 2 books, right?
Making me drink.
And they both were in the top of the charts, right? Like top 2. And I looked at them, so I downloaded one. I'm like, oh, cool. And then it was buy one, get one free. So I got the second app. So the first one is The Power of 10X. So it's all about putting 10 times the effort in, no matter what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. And the guy's like super gung-ho. But then I didn't realize that the other book I downloaded was The 4-Hour Workweek. So the complete opposite of what the first book is. So I'm not sure which book to listen to.
I'd start with the 4. See if that works.
Imagine you like driving in traffic,
Mm-hmm.
and like you're repeating some weird mantra. Like you're like a young, no, not young. You're like a Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Like,
No, I don't think that's necessarily it.
Oh, he is.
I think I'm very motivated to do stuff.
I'm not.
I know that, and
It's a good thing that breathing is a reflex.
Like, what have you done so far today?
I'm motivated to do that. Oh, I'll tell you what I did.
Talk to me.
Did you have to work?
I'll tell you what I did. I walked to the Chinese place.
Okay. With your cane?
No.
Do you have like a snow ski that you put on the cane for this kind of weather? Like an
tennis rackets.
Do you have an all-terrain cane?
Tennis rackets. I do actually.
An ATK?
I have an ATK base. Awesome base. I watched Naito and Okada main event the Tokyo Dome and put on an absolute clinic.
But as far as like motivational stuff, like did you work out today?
I'll tell you motivational. Glad that you brought up motivational because in a very motivational performance, Kenny Omega defended the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship against Chris Jericho in a match for the ages, brother.
I did enjoy the story you told me earlier while we were talking. And let's finish the conversation. We haven't finished the conversation on anything yet.
I answered your question.
Did you work today?
Did you work today?
No.
Did you exercise today?
No, but I tell you who did exercise. Hiroshi Tanahashi exercised as he ascended to the top rope and defeated Switchblade in a 1-2-3. He defended successfully his Intercontinental Championship. First time in a couple Wrestle Kingdom.
So anyway, I'm going to turn Bullet down. Oh, I got the power today. Beep, beep, boop, doop. So,
right.
So I downloaded the 10X book, and if you listen to it, the guy's like, you got to do this, you got to do this. He's and I'm in sales, and he's talking about, I went to the city of Dallas, and I hit at least 60 locations in 2 days, and I wore out everything in the city. I didn't sell anything. And I'm like, he's like, I'm just cold calling everything. Like, that doesn't work. Like, I got like maybe a chapter into this book, and I'm just like, I don't like this book at all. This guy doesn't
Do you think
sound...
it was designed for some other type of sales?
It's not even for sales. It's
crack cocaine, maybe?
The point of the book is, like, if you want to be a good bassist, you have to put 10 times the work in of anybody else.
He perked up
to get really good at bass. If you want to be as good of a wrestler as Kenny Omega and have matches where you're jumping off the top rope and flying with ease, you have to put 10 times the amount of jumping into your practice
10 times
to make sure you get smooth at that.
I'll put it in more practical terms. If you're a fighter and you have a 5-round fight, you have to be ready for 10 rounds cardio-wise. But that's competitive. I'm competitive with myself. I'm not really competitive. I don't want to be the best bass player, in the world. I just want to be the best bass player that I can.
Okay,
and I like to balance work versus fun. I'll work through something even if it's not fun, but there comes a point where I'm like, this isn't fun. I want to stop, and then I'll put it down, walk away from it, and then pick it back up an hour or two or the next day.
What is something that you were never good at and you put a ton of effort into to get good? Don't say music. Give me something else.
Wow.
Something that I put a lot of effort
that you wanted to get good at, and maybe you never got good at it. Maybe it was just something that you felt like, I can do this. You decided to do it, and you put the time in.
weightlifting. I suck at it.
But
'Cause
you
I
want
hate
it. But you wanted to be good at
Did
it.
you put the effort in?
Yeah, and I always wind up hurting myself.
And
I just don't.
is it because you're not educated on what you should be doing, or you're just
No,
kind
I
of
read
winging it
books.
when you get to the gym?
I read books and I have a plan, but it gets very repetitive and very boring. And I already do something that's always very repetitive and very boring, and it
But there's something to having that repetitiveness that when you get in there, you can kind of zone out and
My
your
brain can
mind
only
goes to another
handle-
place.
my brain can only handle one repetitious thing that yields small results in a while.
How about something that resulted with big results?
No, really. I mean, I've kind of. I don't really. I mean,
Kenny Omega would be ashamed to hear you speaking like this.
Kenny Omega would not say that.
Although
He-
Bullet did tell me a story today about a guy, I guess he had cancer,
Oh yeah. He
and
won the New Japan Rumble.
oh, he won too.
Yeah, he won it. He was a surprise entrant, and he wound up winning it.
Yeah, he
I'll
had
look up his name because I can't pronounce it.
he had cancer. You don't have to look it up; it's not that important.
And what is the story?
So
Well,
yeah,
basically
tell the
what
story.
happened- Well, he was a wrestler. He wrestled with Sakuraba. He was a pro wrestler, Japanese guy, and he had cancer. And beginning of the before the actual main event starts in the Tokyo Dome, they do this. Basically, it's like their Royal Rumble. So basically, they're able to get all the guys. You guys look really good.
Yeah, it's fancy night with the wine.
Fancy
know.
night.
They basically want to get as many people on the card as they can. So they had this Rumble. Well, the last entrant was this guy who doesn't even really work in the company anymore. And he had cancer and he won. And like, see, it's different in Japan because they present it as a sport. There's a lot less shenanigans and bullshit with it, right?
Huh.
But one of the things where there's like moments of like reality with it that kind of blend in, and it's imagine this. It's like, okay, like people, you guys like Game of Thrones, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, imagine if you had a guy who played a character on Game of Thrones for like 15, 20 years. You start to associate that character and that person. The
No.
lines get blurred. The
No,
lines get blurred.
they don't get
But
blurred.
They sure do. And you develop like a relationship, just like with characters in books or like Star Wars. Like when Han Solo died, you're like,
Do you think of Bo and Luke Duke as anything other than Bo and Luke Duke?
that affected people because
If
it's
I
like
were
you
to
have-
see Tom Wopat out somewhere,
You'd see Luke.
I would. No, that's not Luke.
but that's like one.
Oh,
of
that
the
is
things,
Luke.
like,
You're right.
Pro wrestling is like one of the few things where they come to you. Like the show comes to you. The only other form of entertainment that does that is like music.
Like rock concerts. What about plays?
Yeah.
Plays do that.
Huh?
Plays do that.
Yeah, but they're not.
What do you mean
I don't
comes
know.
to you? Like travels
You
around?
can come to your town.
It's like a carnival.
It's like
But
right there.
but
Oh, shit.
name a television show that you watched, and it blurred the lines where you thought that person was really that person.
No, I'm not saying it. I'm saying that if a person plays a character, like okay, like who's the dude that plays Victor Newman when Young and the Restless? That dude could be in anything he wants. He's Victor Newman. He's been slaying pussy for years. Is Victor Newman?
Who's Victor Newman?
You don't know who Victor Newman is? Young and the Restless?
No,
He's like an OG pussy slayer, man.
I'm a General Hospital kind of guy.
Nah, see, Victor Newman's a fucking pimp, man.
Is he an older guy with dark hair?
He's got the mustache. He got the fucking Don Fry
I
mustache.
think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, he's like an OG-S master. But I don't know, like you develop like an assumed relationship with these characters or these people that portray them, and you know. But anyway, so this wrestler made a surprise entrance, and like one of the Japanese announcers like stood up. I guess I don't know, like he stood up and started crying and shit. It was like real. It was like real.
Did you get emotional?
Well, they talked about this one wrestler, Takayama. Remember the guy who fought Don Fry in the famous Pride fight?
Yeah, where
Tall
they're just
Japanese guy with
Beating the
blonde
shit
hair?
out of each other.
Okay, that's Takayama. Takayama is like a famous pro wrestler. And
Didn't he die last year?
No, he's paralyzed from the neck down.
Oh shit.
Just a routine move too. He did a sunset flip and just years of abuse. And he's paralyzed from the neck down. And they started a whole bunch of GoFundMe's and stuff for him. So he had like this really inspirational message for Takayama. They were kind of translating into Japanese from Japanese to English. But yeah, it was cool. Like that's what I mean about where it gets real, because it's like, yeah, Takayama's a pro wrestler, but like,
Right, but
he got injured in the ring for real.
besides wrestling, do you have that association with stuff that you watch on TV?
I would say that I associate closer with characters in books and movies than real people.
What's your favorite TV show
Ever?
besides wrestling?
And Young and the Restless.
Probably the TV show that I liked the most for the longest time was Rescue Me with Dennis Leary, with the firefighter.
All right, so if you saw Dennis Leary somewhere, would you think he
I'd
was
be
the?
like, how's Tommy Gavin doing? What's he up to?
You would treat him like he was the fire chief?
No, but I would ask him.
Yeah, but Leary had quite a career before Rescue Me.
But what I'm saying is those characters on that show through the course of that 5, 6, 7 years that it was on, you care about them. So like when one of the main characters dies, you're like, holy shit. That affects me more than like if, I don't know, like a coworker I've worked with was just like, oh, he's dead. I'd be like,
But you don't like real people.
I wouldn't say that I don't like them. I think it's.
But I've had a lot of favorite TV shows over the years, and I've never had any kind of emotional anything.
You
to
don't
any
read
of
a
them.
book. You don't get sad after you read a book.
I was sad. The only time I've ever gotten sad reading a book is when Chewbacca died in the books that I was reading.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
But I was over it in like 10 seconds.
Plus, you're never going to see Chewbacca
Well, that's
anywhere and
because
go.
you're like a sociopath. You have no real emotions.
It's not really sociopath. I understand that it's a book that I'm reading and that it's not a real character. There's not a real person.
Yeah, but like, you'll say that like I was over in 10 seconds, but your whole day was ruined because your tap out shirt got washed.
No, it was a shirt that was autographed from like 8 years ago that I was saving.
But it's a T-shirt.
It has nothing to do with that. It was something I was saving.
But it's a T-shirt.
It doesn't matter what it was. The fact that it was fucking ruined.
So I'm ridiculous.
And this wasn't even something we were supposed to talk about on air. This is the thing you can't do with this dude is have any kind of a private conversation with him, because then he thinks he has some sort of.
First of all, you did not preface. First of all,
no, you've been trying to allude to it since we got on. But this is the thing he does. You give him just a little bit of fuel, and he'll hang on to it like he thinks he has something over you.
I'm not hanging on to it.
It doesn't.
I'm taking a clear example. You're saying.
No, I'm already over it.
You cannot fathom the idea of how I would get upset over a character, or
right?
how I would fucking closely associate.
Mine, I'm not upset about the actual thing that got ruined.
But it is an
I'm
actual
upset
thing,
about how it got ruined.
It is a thing, too.
It is
It's
a
actually
thing.
a tangible.
But what I am
tangible
upset
thing.
about is that it was sitting on a shelf safe for fucking years.
It was your negligence.
And then I got yelled at and told that it was I shouldn't leave my laundry everywhere when it was in a safe spot folded on a shelf.
But we're not talking about it, Chris.
Yeah, we're not talking about it.
But that's the thing. Like any kind of stuff that you give to Bullet, all of a sudden, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. He's got something that he thinks he can bring out on you every time he talks to you, and it'll affect you. But he doesn't realize that it doesn't work.
If we were talking about it, I would say if you really cared about that shirt, it would be behind a case or a glass, just like your myriad belts that you have of jiu-jitsu over there.
Yeah, if those got ruined, I'd be upset.
Well, that's different because you put a lot of sweat equity into those. You earned those.
Right, but a shirt that got ruined. The shirt is not the part that matters. It's the fucking how it went down is what matters to me, and how
I don't disagree.
How I'm upset that something got ruined, but it got turned on to me that I did something wrong.
You did.
That's the shit that bothers me. Yeah, exactly. So now my wife's going to be watching this upstairs, and then I'm going to have to go up and have a fucking argument with her because Bullet brought it up and you're the worst.
I apologize.
It doesn't matter. It's already done. But he's the dude that you don't want to get arrested with, because if he has a little detail on you that will get him out of prison, he's going to be the guy that says, "Hey, this is this and this is the body's over here. I didn't know anything about it because Chris told me where he put it."
No, wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if you told me where the body was and you didn't say, "Hey, look, don't tell anybody this,"
yeah.
Then
Bullet's the guy from Austin Powers.
Number two?
No. Will Ferrell's character, where you ask him a question you don't know. You ask him a second time, he doesn't know. But the third time, he's going to tell you because he can't stop himself if you ask him at least 3 times because it annoys him so much.
Isn't that crazy? He had a big part in that movie, and he's like 10 times the movie star that Mike Myers is now.
Yeah, Mike Myers' career kind of flopped.
Well, The Love Doctor killed his career. A single movie killed a career. Can
Did you
think of another movie or another guy who literally one movie fucking destroyed
There's
their career.
got to be a bunch of them.
Can you think of another one off the top of your head where you're like, this dude's making money, this dude's making bank, all of his movies are hits. He has one colossal shit.
How about
it's over.
Eddie Murphy? When's the last time he made a good movie?
Was that Pluto Nash?
Eddie Murphy
Is that the
had a
one?
No,
series
Pluto
of
Nash I
movies.
actually like.
Norbit was awesome.
Norbit's one of my favorite movies.
What's the one where he's the actor and he's there's another one of him?
Is that Norbit, isn't it?
that-
Or no, Norbert's the
No.
one where he's like the ugly dude and
With Steve Martin. He's got Steve Martin.
Martin.
And
yeah, where he's hiding from him.
He's got-
Like he
he's
thinks
got
he's
it.
being stalked.
He's
I
gotta
love
try to
Steve
be-
Martin.
That's
I think
Steve Martin's
Martin.
phenomenal, but
He's a comic
as
genius.
far as Eddie Murphy's concerned, I think the Doctor Dolittle 2 and 3 probably not a good choice. I think Haunted Mansion was not a good choice.
what was the one that the Pluto Nash?
Pluto
That's what
Nash,
I said. I think it's Pluto Nash is the one that did it.
that's the one with the aliens. Yeah, I think that kind of took him down.
I think it's the worst financial flop in history.
I believe you're right.
Even more than The Room.
No.
Well, no, because the room was made on a shoestring budget. I think
No,
Pluto
I
No,
mean,
is it? No,
$6 million.
$6 million.
But he made all that money back.
Yeah, probably at this point he did. And I tried to watch that. That was just fucking.
I watched the whole thing. I
Awful.
watched the whole entire thing.
Oh, the movie's horrible.
I
In
couldn't
fact,
get.
hold on.
I couldn't get through the first fucking love scene.
In fact, I watched it the last podcast when I came home. We were drinking. I went home and watched that whole movie.
I tried to watch it. It was just. It was. Popo told me about it because we have a guy that we train with named Mark, and every time he walks in, Popo goes,
Okay, here it is.
"Hi, Mark."
In absolute terms, this movie made the largest financial loss of any movie to date, with a budget of $100 million and a total U.S. gross of $4.41 million. They lost $95.59 million.
What movie is that?
Pluto Nash.
Pluto
Oh
Nash.
damn!
I knew that was it.
But speaking of comedians, Jesse
Ooh.
Gray just posted on there. Steve Martin, one of his favorite movies is The Jerk. I've watched that movie
yeah,
1,000
that's great.
times. The one that I watched with Steve Martin that sometimes I like and sometimes I don't is The Man with Two Brains. With Diane, the fuck is her name? She's in Romance in the Stone. And
I know
she's
you're talking
she's
about
real
Jessica
cunty.
Rabbit.
Yeah, and then he's got like the screw top surgery where he's like he loosens the head and he puts a new brain in,
Yeah.
and that's crazy.
My favorite of his is Roxanne.
Roxanne's the best.
Roxanne is awesome.
You know what I've been getting
Roxanne.
into a lot lately, like since we're on comedians, is watching comedy specials again. Like Dave Chappelle's new one that just came out like the
I
other
haven't seen
day.
it yet.
Didn't see
Awesome.
it.
It's phenomenal. I laughed the whole time.
Now, was it filmed with the other two?
No,
Like within-
it was filmed after.
Okay.
But he's got one point in it where he goes, I'm so good now. I just write the punchline.
Oh,
And then I'll tell the joke. I'll come up with a joke later. He's like, I got a bunch of jokes, and he's like, it's a fishbowl of just punchlines, and he's like, my favorite one I have right now is he goes, and then I kicked her in the pussy, right? and then he proceeds to he's like, I'm gonna throw that out, and everybody laughed. He's like, see, I didn't even tell the joke, and all you guys laughed. That's how good I am. And he's like, I'm gonna break this out later in the show, and you're all gonna die. And like at some point in the show, he starts talking, and that thing pops out.
But Bullet, that's what he says. He goes, you know what? I don't come up with jokes. I come up with punchlines. I write them down. I put them in a bowl. And then when I need to come up with a new joke, I reach in that bowl, grab a punchline, and then I write the joke from that.
That's exactly what I just said.
I know. I'm just clarifying.
The other one I watched,
Equal time, Bullet. I'm
one
on
of my
camera.
favorite ones of all time, Brian Callen, Man Class. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
You've seen that one.
Yes.
He puts his foot up on the chair. That's fucking awesome. I watched Eddie Murphy Raw for the first time in years, probably a month ago.
Kevin
Fucking
Hart
still
was talking
fantastic.
about him, and he goes, you know, Eddie Murphy was the first guy that made it like a rock star. He goes, what comedian up until Eddie Murphy would come out with no shirt on and a leather jacket?
Leather. Yeah, that's true.
Dice Clay
And then
did a good
Dice
job
was
of being a
excellent.
huge guy after that, and he's one of those guys. That, back to what Bullet was talking about earlier, is that when you see him now, like he's actually his character, right?
He can't get away from Dice.
He's not Italian. He was a Jewish guy that morphed into this
still is.
Italian guy.
Did you watch the
think-
Showtime show?
No,
Oh, it's
No.
fucking great.
I think what happened with Dice is at some point, you know, I think when he first started, it was the character. Dice was the character that he played on stage, and then, you know, you get that kind of notoriety. You have to be on all the time, and that's where the lines get blurred.
Well, it also Ford Fairlane kind of.
I love Ford Fairlane.
I do
Yeah.
now, but at the
Alphonse
time
is
that was
great.
another one that just was horrendous for somebody's career.
There's some movies that I can watch over and over again and still enjoy them. Like there's one that I just absolutely love. What's the ping pong one?
Oh,
Balls of
Balls
Fury.
of Fury.
Balls of Fury. I can watch that movie 1,000 times and it's still funny every time.
I can watch the original Zoolander at any point in that movie. That's
can-
my favorite movie of all time.
I don't really watch too much comedy stuff, or I just don't have.
Don't say you don't have the time. You have the time.
But
I'm
they're
in
serious.
I'm in 2 bands. I do a podcast. I have a son. What time do I have?
You can't be as busy as me.
Sure, I can.
No, you cannot.
Please.
You
Don't
cannot.
give me that bullshit that you got 4 kids, because one's in college, so that don't count.
Okay.
So you got 3.
And I work, and I'm home
And
with the
2
kids.
of them are the same age, so they're 1 kid.
I cook meals.
You essentially got 2 kids.
You put them together and they're one
They're
kid.
2 sides of the same coin.
I fucking run around with them. I teach kids jujitsu classes. I do a podcast.
Please.
I go to the regular gym. I train every day. I make sure they get to their
Well,
sports.
you better train every day, because look, I can gain weight or lose weight. You know what I mean? But I'm still pretty. I still got a beautiful face.
Yeah.
You're a butterface.
I
And
told
if
you. I
if
told
get
Bullet the
fat-
other day.
If you get fat, you're a butt nothing.
His face looks like his
That's
neck
all
threw
it
up,
is.
and his body
That's all
looks
there
like
is
his
to it.
neck took a shit.
That's all there is to
That's
it.
bullshit. I think he's a handsome fella.
There you go, in your face. See?
That's all he's got. I'm handsome.
Yeah, but see, I can lose weight. You can't just be like, you know what? I'm gonna get handsome.
And his
It ain't
Tinder
gonna happen.
pictures.
I'm already
and his
handsome.
Tinder pictures can all be up here.
Yeah, you're neck up with special effects.
Whatever gets the dick sucked, buddy.
I'm normal all the time. I look the same in any lighting.
Please, please. You're
And where did you get the opinion that you were pretty?
I
Like,
get it from everybody else tells me.
who tells you that? Don't say your
Millions of
mom.
people.
Don't say your
Millions
mom.
of people.
Who?
Millions of women.
Name 600,000 of them.
Okay, there's like lots of
Stacy
them.
and Roxanne and Janine.
Look, you're basically like a Cleveland Brown. The uniform's really nice, but the helmet's got to.
Everybody already knows that one already, bro. Come up with
That's
something
you.
original.
That's you.
No.
That's you.
No.
That's why you're growing that beard. You're trying to cover that face.
That's why you have a beard and a hat on all the time.
Well, it's because I've got my hair here. I'm protecting my hair. You wouldn't know anything about that.
I wouldn't know anything about protecting your hair. But did you guys watch the UFC fights last weekend?
I finally saw them. I didn't watch them live. Cyborg whooped that ass.
We actually watched them at Todd's house,
Thanks for the invite.
and
Oh, you didn't get it?
we hit a point
Now,
in the fights where we just lost our connection, right?
Why didn't you get?
Oh, because you know what? Because there was probably 8 or 9 people there, which would have made not a good spot for Bullet.
Yeah, just too many people. But we were watching the fights,
Am I right?
and the fights weren't too bad. But
Still
like
appreciated the
somewhere
invite.
around the Nurmagomedov fight,
Nurmagomedov.
we lost our connection, right?
Aha.
And Todd was scrambling in front of the group to try to reconnect. He was trying it through his phone. He was trying it through his
got to
TV.
watch the fights that no one gave a fuck about, and then the only two fights that fucking matter.
No, because I thought the other fights were actually really
Yeah,
good.
the other fights weren't too bad, but Todd was in full panic mode, like just scrambling around the room, and you could see the sweat coming off him. And he's that guy that if it was happening at my house, he would have been having a fit.
No, you know what? If I was at his house, you know what he would have done? Throw me the remote and said, "Fix this."
Fix this. Fix this.
He's my IT guy.
And then I would have been
I've seen him do
running around, and he'd give you the same speech.
So we wound up watching the final fight on somebody's Periscope app, and the guy was just all over the place with the camera. And
That's how I watched the Mayweather McGregor fight.
Yeah,
I watched it on
but
fucking Periscope.
this dude was all over the place with his camera because he was caught up in the fight. So Todd sends him a message on Periscope. He's like, "Fix your camera." And the dude like fixed it. he's like, okay. And the dude had like 475 people watching.
But Bullet,
That's great.
Bullet. As long as even though I'm panicking, I've got options. Bullet. I have things to pull out of my ass when I needed to.
Well, he worked off his iPad for a few minutes, and then his iPad died when we were doing Periscope at that point. And then he switched to his phone, and then his phone died. And then he was charging his phone, and we were switching back and forth. But this dude had 475 people watching through his Periscope.
My favorite thing of all time is the guy, the last UFC. He broadcast on Twitch, and he had a picture of himself in the corner.
Oh, and it looked like he was playing a game.
the video game.
Did you hear that?
That's
I'm the one who shared it with the two of yous.
You know what? Hold on. Let me reverse that. Yes.
Yes. He was trying to tell me this story the other day. I'm like, I shared it with you, and then you just did that.
I didn't just do it. I agreed with him.
You agreed with him that I shared it with you? You
No, I
agreed
agreed
with
with
him
him
that
that-
you saw it on there. And I don't know what kind of repercussions that guy's going to suffer from that. It's got to be something severe, I
He's
would
gonna have to
think.
get hit from it. Yeah, they're gonna make it.
They're not going to let that just drop because it's highly illegal.
Everything, even the Periscope stuff is highly.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But you're guaranteed to find one feed
Now,
after another on there.
I will say, normally what happens is you go on there, and I've watched a fight or two. You go on, you start watching it, and once the guy gets 50 or 100 people, he renames the broadcast so that nobody else will find it, but nobody else will find it to shut him down. So then those 50 or
Pretty
60
genius.
people
So you just stay with them.
stay with him. Yeah.
So you had to have a Periscope account to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm on top of the game, bro.
Yeah, Todd's
I have backups.
He's
I
a
have backups for backups.
AV guy.
Social media Todd.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not that. That's him.
I haven't been on social media much lately.
Let me
Posted
tell you
today.
something.
You posted a
What
video
did-
today
What did I
of
post?
you driving.
Yeah, I said stay safe. It wasn't a picture of me. It was a picture of the road. There's a difference.
I was so tempted to make fun of you
Safety.
on social media, but I was like, I can't do that. I can't take this from
Which one?
So a couple days ago, they're like, it's gonna be the largest moon of the year, and
Superman.
I'm like, I was seriously gonna make a picture and go brace yourselves. Multiple pictures of the moon incoming from Christopher Perry, or something. But I was actually having a conversation.
That wouldn't
You know
insult
what?
me though.
I was like, you know what though? He enjoys doing that. I'm not gonna take that from him.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy.
And I didn't do it. I was like, you know what? It's too mean-spirited.
Meanwhile, you love wrestling, and he tears that down.
No,
Yeah, but that's okay because
You can handle it. You can handle it, Bullet.
he expects it.
You can handle it.
I can handle it because
You're a gritty
I know
veteran.
that there are many, many more like-minded people like myself, like the 40,000 people that filled the Tokyo Dome to witness the spectacle that was Wrestle Kingdom 12. Has the UFC ever made you get up at 2 a.m.?
Yes.
I stayed up
They
one
have.
night
I've
to
gotten
watch.
up at 5 a.m. to watch a few of the European ones.
Yes,
So
I
that's
actually
a
did that.
no.
But that's
No,
real
That's a
fighting.
no.
What do you mean?
What do you mean that's a no? That's
I think
a yes.
I stayed up one night, all
You-
night, to
you-
watch the fights coming
Hold
up.
on.
You said, have you ever gotten up? And my answer was yes.
At 2 a.m. No, let's rewind your little.
Yeah, but I'm usually still up at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Cunty statement. That's real fighting. Would you say that to the War Master Josh Barnett?
Not
Yes,
when he- not
because
when
he's
he's
a real
fighting-
fighter. He fights in the UFC.
Not when he's
He's a
fighting.
pro wrestler.
No, he's a UFC fighter who dabbles in wrestling.
He's a pro wrestler, and he beat one of the greatest jiu-jitsu men of all time with a pro wrestling move,
No, that
He
was a
submitted.
catch wrestling move.
which is pro wrestling.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
You don't know the history of your own sport.
You don't know the history. That's not my sport. I'm jujitsu. That's
Sure it is.
catch wrestling.
First of all, pro wrestling
Stutter.
came from
Stutter.
catch wrestling.
Stutter.
I'm not stuttering.
You're stuttering.
Look, just because a bunch of near homeless Brazilian men decided to take
This is a sport that you partook in.
pontificated.
And it's one of your 2018 goals.
I just like making fun of you. Look,
That doesn't make fun of me.
Look, the first family of jiu-jitsu got defeated soundly by who? Sakuraba, who was a pro wrestler.
Is
The-
if you look at Sakuraba, he's a fighter who dabbles in wrestling. Because if
Wrong.
you watch his wrestling, it's not
Wrong.
very good.
Wrong. He came from the Takata Dojo. He was a pro wrestler before he ever fought mixed martial arts. Thank you very much.
How many matches
Monk.
did he have as a pro wrestler?
He still pro wrestles now.
I didn't ask you that question. I asked you
No.
how many did he have before.
Thousands.
No, he has
No.
not had thousands.
You want me to look it up?
Yeah, how many? Thousands of matches. How many years has he been wrestling?
He's wrestled far more many.
How many years has he been wrestling? Just answer the
I'm gonna look it up
question.
right now.
So let's start off with that first fight on the card.
20 years? He's been wrestling for 20 years?
900.
Okay, so even in 20 years, 900 matches is quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go.
How about that Tim Elliott fight?
The Tim Elliott fight was a good fight.
His pro record for MMA is almost like a 500 record. He's 26-17.
Okay, and what's his?
But
Does he have?
The Japanese.
Does he have a pro wrestling record?
Oh yeah, he's Upon graduating from the University
I don't need all that.
of
Just what's?
initially thought he would remain in Shaw University.
What is his record in professional?
But at the
wrestling?
last minute, excuse me, please, he decided to pursue a career as a professional.
I just want his record.
According to Sakuraba, the impetuous from this stemmed from a childhood dream to one day emulate Satoru Sayama. He was the real-life Tiger Mask, and he was the first Tiger Mask.
Why are you so difficult?
I don't know how he cracks me. He
Just
cracks
answer
me
the
up. I'm
fucking
sorry.
question.
He cracks me up.
But here's the thing. I just like getting underneath your skin.
You're not under
Because
my skin.
We all know the superiority of professional wrestling.
I want to know how many wrestling matches he had, and they don't track it. You know
You want me
why?
to fact check?
You know why they don't track the record?
Fuck, I gotta plug my camera in.
This is
Here's
not
my
fucking
phone.
real.
I gotta plug it in. Oh, you better watch yourself.
Oh, I just said it.
You go get a battery, bro.
Nah, well, you know what?
Yeah, we only got a couple more minutes left
He's
anyway.
got a couple more minutes. Here's the deal, and I mean this with all sincerity. If the UFC 1 was held in 1973 instead of 1993 and Harley Race were in it, you'd be a black belt in Harley Race Jiu-Jitsu. That's all I'm saying.
No, it wouldn't be.
Harley Race would have kicked the shit out of the Gracies in 1973.
You think so?
I know so.
How about Tim Elliott?
Did you watch the Tim Elliott fight?
Yeah, dude. That was a good fight.
Who did he fight?
Mark De La Rosa, but it was so sad at the end when his trainer had just committed suicide.
Oh, why did he kill himself?
I didn't get into that.
Oh, that
Bullet,
sucks.
do you know the psyche of that guy?
That's terrible.
Now,
Who was the next fight on the card?
I'll go to the ones that are. Miles Jury was good versus Rick Glenn.
Yeah, that was a good fight. Those two dudes were slugging it out.
Felt bad for the Condit, Magny.
Yeah. Condit didn't quite look himself.
he's done.
Yeah, I mean, he's what?
He's still got a
34?
part. I think he's still marketable.
I didn't think Magny looked phenomenal though.
In fact,
How much of it was that Magny looked good, and how much was it that Condit looked bad?
I think Condit looked bad.
Brown, what's his name? The one that just retired.
Matt Brown.
Matt Brown said he would come out in retirement to play Condit. I don't know where that came from.
I would watch that fight.
I would. Carlos Esperada.
I didn't care about that
I'm very
fight.
surprised that she won.
Yeah, I was surprised as well.
Especially
She's
after the
clawing
first
her way
round.
back up.
First round, it looked like it was going to be a one-sided beating.
Yeah.
And then she just...
She's a tiny little lady, too.
Dan Hooker, Mark...
Go to the next one, if you can't say it.
Kessie.
He can't say it.
Habib. Wow.
Khabib
What a
Nurmagomedov.
beating.
Yeah.
The worst was, did you see the look that Edson Barbosa gave in the first round? Just like, what the fuck?
Have you seen
Yeah.
any of the videos of Habib talking to Dana White during the rounds?
No, but I saw pictures of Habib sitting on Dana White's car after the fight.
So between
Outside.
rounds, he's talking to Dana White, who's like 5 feet from him. Going,
He does that all the time.
But how about this performance, huh? It was a crazy.
The problem with Nurmagomedov is this, from a promotional standpoint.
He's like
very-
Demetrius Johnson. He's like just...
No, he's 10 times worse. 'Cause number one, he doesn't speak good English. Number two, he's Russian. That's hard to market in the States. I'm just being honest. But more importantly, if you want to just look at the facts, he's missed weight a number of times. They've had to cancel fights a number of times because of him. And he's pulled out of numerous fights.
Look, when there's a celebration that he made weight, that's a problem.
That's a problem. So you can't, number one, it's very hard to build a promotion. Like, if they have a lightweight title fight, whether it's for an interim or a real title, it could never be the main event because there's a high probability that he's either going to miss weight, get injured, or something else is going to happen.
Right, so he's always going to have to be second fiddle on any
He's always
card.
going to have to be the co. Because
Yeah.
he'll never be able to main event because of that alone. Because, number one, he trains at AKA, and they have a history of injuring guys. think of the number of guys from AKA that have had to pull out of fights. Cain Velasquez, shit.
Luke Rockhold.
Luke Rockhold.
Fucking
Cormier.
Cormier's been hurt. Those guys go hard just in practice.
Yeah, but there's training smart and training hard. You know, like once you're doing this for a certain amount of time, you don't have to do the heavy sparring because your muscle memory is already there. You don't. That's just fact.
No, I mean, you got guys. I think Lawler doesn't do the hard sparring anymore.
No, because his muscle memory is there.
Yeah, and his brain's shot too.
It's the same thing. I know you're gonna like, oh my god, but
he's gonna mention base.
No, it's this. You only have so many flatback bumps in pro wrestling.
Oh my god!
See these guys.
Oh my god!
You see these guys.
Oh
It's
god!
the same
Good
thing.
lord!
You have these guys that are on the indies and smaller promotions taking these insane bumps, and then they get to WWE or some of these bigger promotions, and they're damaged goods.
Yeah, because they're working on shitty fucking rings.
Well, there's that, but also it's like, you know, you only have so much of that in you. You have to be a little bit smart with how you choose to spend that. Like, whether it's...
Yeah, but if you're going for the big leagues, you got to put the big league effort out, right?
That's sure, but there's also, you know, training smart and training stupid. Like, there's only so much that you have.
But you can train smart and get ready for a wrestling match, but if you're putting on a show while you're out there, you're going to go that extra mile, right?
Yeah, but that goes about...
Look at Cactus Jack. Like,
again,
fucking...
yeah, but you know what? It's a similar thing. I would rather be... You take a look at a guy like Mighty Mouse.
Right.
He's a great fighter, and he's going to have a long career because he doesn't take damage. Versus a guy like a Robbie Lawler. What's he known for?
I want to know who
being in wars.
Demetrius Johnson's training partners are, because they have to be good.
He's probably pulling in specialized guys. He's probably pulling in high-level wrestlers, high-level jiu-jitsu guys, high-level boxers.
I've never heard anything about anybody he trains with.
That's what I mean. He's probably pulling guys that aren't famous. He's probably pulling specialists from every field. He's probably at the top.
Right, but you would think you would hear something about one of them in whatever field they're in.
I was just watching his arm bar today again.
When he jumped into it, or threw the guy up in the air, that was pretty phenomenal.
I did that once.
No. You can't even slip a dollar bill under your feet. That's how much air you get.
How about Chris Cyborg?
Did you see a little giggle?
I didn't even know how that was an insult. Yeah,
so there's actually fights on the Cyborg fight.
It's not this weekend. It's the following Sunday. I was wrong.
Oh Jesus!
Oh jeez.
She's the most tested fighter on the planet right now.
So where does she go from here, though? There's nobody. There's
she's
nobody
fighting
in
some
that.
chick that's like 6 foot tall. Is for the next fight.
She's fighting the
Invicta.
champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that an Invicta fight or is that a UFC fight?
That's a UFC fight. She ain't coming down. No.
That's what I mean. How many more people are in her realm?
No.
I didn't think Holly looked terrible.
No.
She didn't. But what they want to do is they want to have her face
Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes. And Cyborg's a little resistant to that. She doesn't want to fight.
The problem I thought I saw with Holly was she was doing that same combination of like 2 punches and then a high kick. And
she makes a lot of noise too.
But she
go ahead, say it.
Say it. No balls.
She probably makes a lot of noise when she's weightlifting.
So can we talk about somebody else about the UFC?
Yeah, who did you want to talk about?
Jimmy Smith getting cut from Bellator.
Yeah.
He's coming to UFC.
I hope so. I like Jimmy Smith.
He is. Mark my words.
He's one of the better announcers that are out there. He's very well informed. He doesn't turn everything onto him and what he's done like some of these guys do.
And he's a black belt, right? In jiu-jitsu?
Yep. He's a former pro fighter.
Yeah. But wasn't he on a TV show too?
Great show. That was a great show.
What was that? Human Weapon? Fight Quest or Human Weapon?
Well, he was on. I think he was on Human Weapon, but he was on Fight Quest, where he'd go somewhere and
Fight Quest. Human Weapon was Jason Chambers.
Yes.
But he would go and train Sambo or something like that and just play.
And
I would love to see that show again.
Smith's last professional fight, he heel hooked Jason Chambers and won.
Oh, but I would love to see that show again, but with different people going around the world fighting every season. That would be cool.
His wasn't so much about fighting; it was just,
about the culture
doing doing just that thing.
But he had the
and
one
being that
army. He
good
had
at
the
that.
army guy with him, right? He had like a big tattoo on his chest.
Where he was just a tough guy.
Yes,
versus
like Jimmy
somebody-
was the skilled guy who actually had some some training.
No, that was Human Weapon.
Yeah, no, these two guys were both on the same show.
I'll fact check.
Todd's gonna fact check your shit right now.
They were basically the same fucking show.
Yeah, they were both the same show, but I used to love that show, and I would watch that. I think that would be a great show if they just had different people doing it every season, like two new guys going out there and trying to
He's
shit.
right. It's not Jimmy.
Yeah, but the other guy that was on,
But it was a Jimmy lookalike.
the guy that was on the show with Jimmy. Go to that show.
Allow me to backpedal.
Is the I'm not backpedaling.
He's
I
not
said he was an army guy with a big tattoo on his chest.
He did say
That's
that.
me.
Bullet.
That's not you.
That's
You are
me. I
not
got
an
a big
army
old
guy.
But I got a big old tattoo on my chest.
Of a dick.
Yeah, at least mine's in English. Fucking.
What does yours
cornball.
say in English?
It says Chris is a joke.
What does it say in English?
It says 911's a joke.
Let's
y'all.
see it. You ain't got shit. Just find the show.
No, I did. I see the picture.
Okay, bring it up. Here you go. That's the guy with the big old tattoo on his chest.
I don't see it.
Yeah, of course you don't see it. So anyway,
Still don't see it.
it's been an effort to make it
A
through
little
this
bit
one.
closer.
It's been an effort to get through this one.
Can
We had
I
some-
ask
we had-
something that's up there?
Yeah, go
What
ahead. What are
is
you
the
gonna ask?
friend suggestion?
Oh, I was just looking at some of the friend suggestions that Facebook has been suggesting for me lately.
Suggesting for you.
Yeah, like because you can log on and it tells you, hey, you should be friends with these certain people, and I think that's how most of the last friend requests have come to me, because some woman named Monica Gonzalez from Spain tried to friend me, and then Cheryl and Gracia, and like 5 or 6 other people. And I'm looking at these suggestions. I'm like, I don't know who any of these fucking people are.
It's probably your pictures, dude. Your pictures have no boundaries.
Yeah, it's because it's universally handsome. It doesn't have a language.
And then you never got into what is the 4-hour work week? How do you do a 4-hour?
I don't know.
work week?
Bullet wouldn't let me finish talking at the beginning there, so we had to talk about wrestling. When I
I'm
was
sorry. Look,
trying to have a
I've
conversation.
been in a pro wrestling paradise that you guys ripped me out of because I didn't even want to do a show today. And Chris was like, "Look, I'm really sad. I need the attention.
I did need the attention.
Can you fucking
Look, this is the year, and I was talking to Bullet. Like, I have interviews lined up tomorrow to talk to people about our show. Right? One of the shows is Talent Scout, Talent Scouts is the name of the show, or something like that. And what they do is people pay them to get them on shows. Like if you're, let's say, an author of a book, or you're a doctor and you want to talk about something, that person will pay these folks to find a show to put them on.
All right.
Right? So I have a meeting with them tomorrow in the afternoon. It's a Skype meeting too, which should be interesting. And then the other one was for
Male modeling.
Chris,
Male modeling.
a podcast network that is a group of podcast shows, and they don't have an MMA/guy show on there. So
What's the name of this network?
I'm not gonna say. Yeah, we'll find out once we have the conversation, in case there's anybody else out there who wants to do the same. But I'm trying to share a bullet. I'm like, hey, let's do these things, blah 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 blah. And,
I'm all for it.
and he's all for it, but he's gonna make fun of me for it at the same fucking time.
Well, yeah, of course.
So you and your
Where's
ghost,
the fun in that?
you and your Ghostbusters poster
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
can go
Is that
have
your
a,
dining room?
it's his, he doesn't really have a formal dining room.
Is that your kitchen area?
Turn the camera a little bit. Show everybody your apartment real quick.
Well, I've got like very little juice.
All right,
So
and then we're gonna get off the
here's-
phone.
here's the living room. There's the bar. Can you see the bar?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's right there. And then I've got movie posters all throughout.
Is that plastic on top of the couches?
No.
His
You
whole
probably should get plastic.
his whole apartment's a man cave.
Yeah.
It's like people's
Essentially.
basement. It's like people's basement.
It is pretty much.
No, it's not. It's not like a basement.
You're living the dream, bro.
So anyway,
I tell you one thing.
go ahead.
You
If
tell
I leave my laundry anywhere, no one's washing it. It's not honest.
Son of a bitch. On that note, thanks for tuning in. We were kind of all over the place, but we needed to do it. And catch us at XCC 30 on February 3rd at Philadelphia Armory. Also go to Philly Comedy Club. Use the podcast code CAYPOD. Get discount tickets. Follow us. Also check out Rust Tattoo. Dads in cargo shorts.
This is the end of your career in front of the camera, Todd. It's the end.
Why, bro?
I'm just joking.
Because I'm hot like fire, bro.
He's working on the Toddcast. So
I'm working with a bunch of guys, Bullet.
Yeah,
on the side.
On a channel. He's doing
about a
this
channel
thing,
about guys named Todd.
So on that note, we're going to end the show. Bullet, thanks for hanging
fun.
out with us.
Bye.
And Todd's going to hit stop.